Thank you so much, JC. Good morning, everyone, distinguished participants, colleagues, and friends. It is really a great pleasure for me to add my welcome to all of you to Iloilo and to this APEC SME Finance Forum. We really welcome this very much, Jerry, all the help that we have received from the government to meet again and to discuss concrete solutions and actions to support the participation of MSMEs in regional and global trade. Many of us have been working together over the past years to bring about free and open trade and to achieve regional economic integration. We have seen the fruits of our work in the form of economies benefiting from higher levels of trade and investments, lower tariffs, ease of doing business, and our people having wider and cheaper sources of goods and services. In fact, however, that the benefits from these reforms need to trickle down to MSMEs in more significant ways to ensure that our objective of job creation, wealth generation with equity, and wider access to the opportunities of global trade are actualized. We hope we can rally around a clear vision and action plan that will allow MSMEs to assume its rightful place at the table, so to speak, in ensuring a more inclusive approach to the region's development. What then is the most compelling issue facing our MSMEs? Market access, lack of capacity to innovate, access to finance, or I guess it's all of this. Last month, the APEC ministers responsible for trade met in Boracay and adopted the Boracay Action Agenda to globalize MSMEs. Actually, during that meeting, they called it MISMEs, and it sort of becomes something that we use a lot, so I hope you don't mind if I use that from this point forward. ABAC welcomes the adoption of the Action Agenda as it builds on APEC's extensive work on regional integration and trade facilitation. This will help ensure that our efforts remain relevant and responsive to the needs of MSMEs as much as they are to big business. The Action Agenda also widens the opportunity for close collaboration between ABAC and APEC. The holding of this forum is an example of such collaboration. Recognizing the importance of sharing the benefits of globalization to MSMEs is the priority agenda of ABAC's chairmanship this year. MSMEs play a vital role in boosting economic development in the APEC region. Unfortunately, many MSMEs are unable to access financing, thus stifling their ability to grow their business, to pursue innovation, or to comply with minimum standards to enable their participation in local supply chains, much less global value chains. ABAC's recommendations are premised on financial inclusion as the key factor that would create the changes we seek. This requires access to financial services and improving bank lending efficiency, as well as broadening the range of financing instruments available to SMEs to better serve their diversified financing needs. ABAC also calls for innovation. We need financing instruments that will provide financing for startups, as well as financial innovation that responds to the changing business models we see today. We also call on wider cooperation in the development of innovative policies that foster financial inclusion and literacy. Much has been achieved, but significant work remains to be done. Technology is the great enabler that will allow the changes that we seek. Given the myriad financing challenges that face MSMEs, ABAC welcomes the adoption by the finance ministers at their meeting in Cebu recently of our recommendation for the establishment of a public-private financial infrastructure development network, FIDN. The FIDN shall serve as a specialized subgroup within the Asia-Pacific Financial Forum to facilitate workshops, dialogues, and studies to support the establishment of legal frameworks for credit information systems, secure transactions, and the use of movable assets as collateral. We also encourage initiatives that promote an enabling environment for trade and supply chain financing and alternative financing mechanisms, and to identify best practices for strengthening MSMEs' resilience against unexpected events, disasters, and financial crises. As Asia-Pacific is the world's most natural disaster-prone region, we have to equip MSMEs with responsive financial instruments that will allow them to mitigate disaster risks and to recover quickly. As a country with a significant share of disasters per year, we see the great need for financial instruments such as microinsurance for business continuity and catastrophe bonds to help communities in their reconstruction. The region is home to more than 1 billion people who do not have access to a bank account or formal financial services. There has to be a clear understanding of the perspectives across disadvantaged communities in order to more effectively promote financial inclusion. These are people who, if given the right opportunities and access to resources, may just become the next successful global entrepreneur. We also need to look at digital financing solutions. They potentially allow deeper penetration than financial service providers in many economies. The business models of digital finance are changing the environment for lending, savings, insurance, and payments in a way that warrants more attention by policymakers. The economic evolution brought about by the digital revolution affords us options that we have never had before. We need to address digital finance issues that impact financial access and their alignment with global and regional efforts. This SME Finance Forum is being held on the margins of the SME ministerial meeting this week. Before that, ABAC and representatives from the private sector will hold a dialogue with SME ministers to discuss how we can deepen outcomes of the Boracay Action Agenda to globalize MSMEs. We will focus on innovation and what policies are needed to ensure this and future generations can participate in technology-driven growth. These dialogues between the private and public sectors are vital to ensure that policies are responsive and inclusive. As such, ABAC invites officials and regulators to collaborate with the private sector in numerous meetings throughout this year through the annual Asia-Pacific Forum on Financial Inclusion, the APIP, the APFF, and many others that JC has the energy to lead. As ABAC Chair for 2015, I express my gratitude to all of you for all the amazing work you do throughout the year towards the creation of recommendations, policies, and programs that are relevant and responsive to MSMEs to achieve our goal for inclusive growth. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a really good meeting today.